Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmine and I am a therapist trainee. Today I am going to be talking about emotionally immature parents. Don't get me wrong, this video is not going to be about hating your parents. Instead, I just want to share awareness of the different types of behaviors that you may pick up on when you notice a parent is struggling emotionally. There are 4 types of emotionally immature parents, and this is going based off of this book here. So everything that I'm talking about today is going to be based on that alone. That said, let's go ahead and get right into the video. The first emotionally immature parent is the driven parent. The driven parent is ruled by success and measurements. You may feel very judged by this person. They're only looking for results. So typically what we would hear in therapy is, my dad or my mom, they're very adamant about getting straight A's, or they're very adamant about me succeeding in my basketball career. And it sounds like all of the other things that go on in my life, like depression, anxiety, are just not as important as these other things that they can measure or physically see. So what we're hearing is that the driven parent is more concerned about success, or what they deem as success, or their definition of how their child should be, instead of accepting how their child really is. The driven parent can be a little bit self-centered and also could be living vicariously through their children. In turn, these children tend to grow up with more anxious symptoms, trying to meet other people's goals, and also end up people pleasing. That is because they have been taught over time that in order to be loved, they have to meet a certain standard. So really, these children do not know what it's like to feel unconditional love. In order to help these children grow up after having parents who are driven, these children or adults will have to learn that love does not come from a measurement of sorts. It is not something that is given conditionally based on what they do for another person. And really, we have to build up that self-confidence and release self-doubt. The second type of emotionally immature parent is the passive parent. Don't get me wrong, this is not a metaphor or a connection to gentle parenting. Gentle parenting is a completely different subject. Passive parents are parents who are not active or playing an active role in their children's lives. They would typically let the other parent kind of make the rules, set the boundaries, and follow through on things. They may even underhand their partner and not follow through with rules or allow their children to take advantage of them. The passive parent does not do well with emotional baggage. Anytime there is a serious situation, or if their children come to them other than for fun or for laughs and giggles, then this parent has a very hard time dealing with emotional upset. They are not mature enough to actively help, support, guide, or give advice. This parent type is also known for abandoning their families. They are typically seen as the good parent or the good cop, because they allow their children to run amok. And they also are about fun. This is not to say that parents can't be about fun. However, there's just not enough discipline in place for their children to be successful. Children of this parent type grow up having really hard time setting boundaries, meeting deadlines. They tend to also be overweight and have a huge struggle with diet. They lack emotional regulation because they were never taught how to do so. In order for these children or adults to grow emotionally, they will need to learn self-discipline and learn how to set boundaries. These skills can be taught in therapy or by reading the book. The third parent type is the emotional parent. The emotional parent tend to have angry outbursts and have a very hard time with emotional regulation. The smallest mistake tends to set them off. Spilled milk. Think yelling and cursing and really hurtful words. Parents that fall into this category tend to have their own mental health problems, such as depression, bipolar, borderline, anxiety, and they never learned how to really deal with those issues. So they do a lot of projecting onto their children. They're very unstable, and the children grow up trying to read them and trying to learn their moods. Children that grow up with these type of parents tend to have their own mental health issues as well. So again, anxiety is a number one thing that they deal with because they don't have that stable support system. They're constantly trying to balance the other parent. These children also grow up being more mature than their own parents. They have to grow up at an early age. Unfortunately, these children are always on edge and they become people pleasers because they have to learn that it's not about them, it's about their parent and their own emotional baggage that they're going through. In order for these children to grow, they will have to learn self-love and to put themselves first because they grew up in a situation where they couldn't. Over time, they'll also have to learn how to set boundaries and stand up for themselves. They most likely grew up with parents who told them that they had no voice, had no privacy. These children or adults will have to unlearn the bad behavior, the negative behaviors that their parents have kind of pushed onto them. And finally, the fourth type of emotionally immature parent is the rejecting parent. The rejecting parent is a parent who basically rejects their children. They are the type of parents that you question, like, why did you even have kids type of person. They're very solitary parents and they do not enjoy emotional interaction with their children or any interaction really. These type of parents tend to be a little bit on the narcissistic side and it's all about ego for them. They have a hard time empathizing with others and putting others first. They may even think of their children as laborers and put them to work. They want nothing to do with their kids, and it shows. They may even rely on the other parent to kind of deal with the other children. They are known to put down their children with insults, mockery, and really not put any support into their goals or dreams. They seem very disinterested and the children end up feeling very unheard and unseen. These children or adults tend to spend the rest of their lives trying to prove themselves to this rejecting parent who really does not care more or less about their situation. These children end up seeking validation in other types of relationships in their lives, such as romantic, friends, boss, coworkers, and they will never find that. They try to fill that void that was missing all of their lives in other ways. Like the emotional parent type, kids in this parent type or adults will need to learn to love themselves and to stop seeking validation in other places. They will have to accept the fact that this rejecting parent is just not going to validate them. They're not going to give them the emotional support that they're looking for. And they will have to mourn that loss. Once they can accept that, they can move forward and grow and heal from that relationship. And those are the 4 types of emotionally immature parents. But overall, all of these parents have one thing in common: the lack of emotional support that they show their own children due to their own egocentric needs. Unfortunately for them, the ones that really miss out on growth and healing are their children. But that does not have to be the case for you. You can choose to grow and heal from these relationships. You can be a better parent in the future if you decide to have kids. And you can use those hurtful relationships to know what you don't want moving forward. I hope you guys found a lot of information from today's video. If you have any topics that you want me to cover in my next, just go ahead and leave me a comment in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.